everyone, I'm Mind, and I'm sure as many of you know, Ninjago Legacy is back in 2026. And so far, we've had 4 different main wave sets revealed. There's 3 coming out in January. We have the Ninja Anniversary Display, the Blacksmith Shop, and the Old Town. Then in March, we have the Legacy remake of Lloyd's Titan Mech coming out, which means we should have one final set at the end of the year that we don't know about. The reason why we think it's only going to be one more set is because of the collectible characters that come in the sets. We were told that there was going to be a total of 7 throughout the year. We have 1 in every single set so far, except for the Old Town, which comes with 3, meaning that there is only 1 left to be revealed. Now, I suppose in theory there could be some sort of bonus Legacy set that we don't know about. For example, we have also had the Cole's car polybag revealed, which is technically a Legacy set, and it comes with a Legacy minifigure, but since it's just a polybag, obviously it doesn't come with one of the anniversary figures. And if we look back to the last time we had an anniversary wave with the 10th anniversary in 2021, we did have 1 set that didn't come with an anniversary minifigure, the Overlord Dragon. This was sort of like a bonus set on top of everything. So I guess there's a chance we get an Overlord Dragon style set as well that's just like a bonus Legacy set we weren't expecting. But in my opinion, I think that chance is low. I think we only have 1 more Legacy set coming out this year, and in this video, I want to try to guess what it might be. Because while we don't really have any real evidence, I think looking at some patterns, looking back at Ninjago's history, there's a few pretty good guesses I could make to get an idea of what this set actually might end up being. First though, before we talk about the actual set, let's talk about the final anniversary minifigure. The anniversary minifigures are just a bonus on top, they don't tie into the theme of the set at all. Like the Blacksmith Shop comes with the Master of Earth, he's not tied into that location at all. But this figure we actually have the silhouette of, and it's very clear at least what hairpiece this minifigure is going to have. This is very clearly the long ponytail hairpiece, it's the one that Misako uses. So you might think that this obviously means this is going to be a Misako minifigure, and that's definitely possible, but there's one other thing it could be. Because every other anniversary minifigure so far has been an elemental master from the past of Ninjago, specifically the ones that fought in the Serpentine Wars. And there is this elemental master character right here, Dusk, the former Master of Shadow. And in the show, she does not use the Misako hairpiece. However, the hairpiece that she uses is not in production anymore, so LEGO can't actually make a screen-accurate Dusk if they wanted to. This hairpiece, though, has 2 pigtails, so I think the Misako hairpiece actually makes a lot of sense to translate that hairpiece from the show that they can't make into something they actually can. But I can't say for sure that it's Dusk, because it very well still could be Misako, specifically young Misako to match the young Wu and young Garmadon that come in this set. And honestly, I feel like there's an equal chance between these 2 characters. There's reasons for both of them. On the one hand, Dusk makes more sense because she's an elemental master, every other minifigure has been an elemental master, so she would complete that theming. But on the flip side of that, of course, number 1, she wouldn't be a 100% accurate minifigure because we don't have the correct hairpiece. And number 2, it's weird to bring over the Master of Shadow, because if you look at the minifigures we have already, it's Lightning, Earth, Ice, which are of course 3 of the 4 elements of creation, which match what the original Ninja have, then Wu, Garmadon, and the first Ninjutsu Master, that just makes sense. Honestly, the character that would make most sense here is Ray, the Master of Fire, but he's already in the Blacksmith Shop set, because then you would have the 4 original elements and Wu, Garmadon, first Ninjutsu Master, that would be perfect. So being fully honest, having a Lightning, Earth, Ice, Shadow feels a little bit weird for a display, but she's also a really cool character, and between these 2 is the one I'd prefer to get. Now the argument for Misako is she would actually tie into young Wu and young Garmadon. She's not the most exciting design in the world, but when she had this design, these 2 looked like this. So then instead the display would be 3 of the original Elemental Masters, 3 members of the Garmadon family, and then of course the first Ninjutsu Master to sit in the center. Now part of the reason why this minifigure wouldn't be super exciting is because we have Misako already. We don't have young Misako, but her design barely changes. It really is just giving her brown hair instead of gray, which the brown hairpiece already exists as well, and removing the wrinkles from her face print. So of these 2, I definitely would prefer for it to be Dusk, but in terms of what I actually think is going to happen, I really can't say one way or the other. You guys have to let me know in the comments what you think. Who do you think this minifigure will be? Do you think it's Dusk, or do you think it's Misako, or is there someone completely out of left field we're not thinking of? I am very confident, though, that it's one of these 2. But now let's talk about the actual set. So considering the fact that we're only getting 5 sets, I think it's important to look at what we don't already have here. Because I've seen a lot of predictions flying around, for example, like the Fire Temple from 2011. And while a Fire Temple remake would be really, really cool, I don't think it's happening, specifically because we already have 2 location builds. And honestly, this set's kind of a location build too. So when we're only getting 5 sets, I don't think we're getting another location build. I think we're going to get something that's not already covered by all of these other ones. For that same reason, I don't think it's going to be another mech. I mean, there's a chance because there's only 1 mech as opposed to 2 locations, but this one absolutely feels designed to be like the definitive Legacy mech for this year. Getting another one only a couple months later just wouldn't make sense to me. Because even though these 2 are both location builds, they're very different locations. This is something from the show we've always wanted done very accurately, and this is a huge, beautiful playset and display set full of tons of minifigures. I don't really see how they would do another mech that would justify its inclusion. So with all that in mind, I think there's 3 different categories that this final set could pull from. It could be a dragon, because of course dragons are a very common thing in Ninjago Ninjago. They've been in Ninjago since the very first wave. We don't have a Legacy Dragon yet this year, and there's tons of different dragons they can pull from, which we're going to talk about in just a moment. But that's the first category that I think would make sense. Second would be some sort of vehicle. The Ninja have gotten tons of different vehicles over the years, and if they're going to do one definitive mech, they could also do one definitive vehicle. But again, what that vehicle would be, we'd have to dive deeper into. And then the final category, which I don't think is actually happening, is some sort of villain build. This could overlap with some of these other categories. It could be a villain vehicle, a villain dragon, and this is honestly the only way I could see them doing another location is if it was a villain location. Like, imagine a new Garmadon's Dark Fortress, that would be amazing. But I think of these three categories, this is the least likely. LEGO rarely makes villain stuff at all in Ninjago, and the fact that we don't have a dragon or vehicle already makes me really think we're getting one of those. I guess Cole's car is technically a vehicle, but polybags are a bonus thing. I don't consider them a part of the main wave. This probably was not even conceptualized yet when they knew what they were doing for the main wave. One final thing I want to point out before I get into my actual predictions is another trend I saw in all the Legacy sets already released. Every single one of these has some sort of exclusive minifigure, not counting the Anniversary minifigure. Of course, the Anniversary minifigures themselves are exclusive, but Lloyd's Titan Mech comes with a new Grimfax minifigure, who's a character we've never gotten before. The Old Town comes with tons of new minifigures. We got Dr. Julian, the Mailman, the Time Twins, Mistake, Harumi, Faith. The minifigures are kind of what this set's all about, but yeah, you can see there's a desire here to give, like, characters we've never gotten before. The Blacksmith Shop had a new Rei, a new Maya, and a new Kai. And the Anniversary display has an exclusive Samurai Axe, which is probably the least impactful of any of these exclusives, but it's also the smallest set, and it comes with 8 minifigures. So while not guaranteed, I assume whatever set we're gonna get is gonna come with some sort of new variant or new character, separate from the Anniversary minifigure that we know we're getting. So, time for actual predictions. First up is the Dragon category, and this first option is what I actually think is most likely. I'm thinking about this, and it just makes sense to come out this year. I think it's very likely we get a remake of the original 2013 Golden Dragon. There's a couple reasons for this. Number one, the Golden Dragon is one of the best-selling Ninjago sets of all time. Kids loved this thing. It was in like the top 10 products of the year in 2013. It was hugely popular. And this did actually have a remake once before. The last time we got Legacy, we did get a Golden Dragon, but they made the interesting choice to downscale it. Now, a lot of people don't like this set. Personally, I do. But it was a different interpretation. It was a smaller interpretation. So I think this year, if we got a new Golden Dragon, they would do the opposite. They would actually make it bigger, more detailed. Because both of these Golden Dragons are more toys than anything. They're not as, like, beautiful and elegant as some of the modern dragons we get. And if you notice, every Legacy set so far is a 14+ set, meaning they're targeting a slightly older audience, and I assume that's going to be the same thing with the final set. So this could be their opportunity to do a Golden Dragon that's more focused on display rather than play. Now, if they want to do something really different with it, they don't have to make it just a dragon. They could do a full, like, diorama of the final battle like we've seen in some other LEGO themes. For example, there's this Jurassic Park set, and I think that could be really cool, a diorama of the Golden Dragon facing off against the Overlord Dragon on the top of that building. Now, if they did that, the dragon would probably be on the smaller end, but it would be a dragon more focused on display than play. Depending on how big the set is, I think there's a chance it comes with a new Overlord Dragon too, which would be amazing to have that, like, face-off scene between the two of them, but I think that is pretty unlikely. We finally got the Overlord Dragon after so long the last time we had Legacy. I doubt they're gonna do it again, but there is a chance. Now, thinking about the minifigures, this is actually what sold me on the idea of, okay, this actually might be the set that's happening, because I could think of 3 brand new minifigures that would make a ton of sense to come in this set. Number one, probably the least interesting for longtime fans, but really exciting for newer fans, a brand new Golden Lloyd. Golden Lloyd's something we've gotten a few times before. We had it, of course, in the original 2013 wave. Then we had a new version in the first round of Legacy, a new version in 2022 for Core, another new version in 2022 with Golden Oni Lloyd. But it has been a few years. Golden Lloyd is, of course, very popular with kids, and we do have these brand new Legacy ZX outfits complete with these brand new hoods, so getting this hood piece in full gold would be amazing to see. My prediction for exclusive minifigure number 2, Dark Nia. This is a fan favorite variant that people have been asking for years, and this would be the perfect set to include it. Now's the better time than ever to bring this variant back as well, because if you look at Dark Nia, she's actually in her original 2011 outfit, and if we look at existing sets, look at what design they just made. In January, we're getting a new version of 2011 Nia, so in this set, they can modify those graphics to be put on gray instead of red, and it would be very easy to translate it. We even have her original hairpiece back right now, so they can make a 100% show-accurate Dark Nia very easily. This would give us a villain too, because the other sets don't come with a ton of villain minifigures, but for example, Lloyd's Titan Mech does still come with Grimfax, so Dark Nia would be a ninja variant and a new villain. And if this set's actually happening, I think these two are a lock, like they're almost definitely coming in the set. Now, the final minifigure that I think has a chance, but is definitely not a lock like these two, would be Possessed Garmadon. This guy has such a weird design in the show, which is part of why we've never gotten him, because his face turns into like this dragon face, and he's got these like very realistic arms and legs, but I think there is a way to do him. He would need a new head mold or maybe just like a new helmet attachment, but part of what makes me think there's a chance we get this guy is the legs, because the way to translate these would be the fawn legs piece, which is the part that exists, but not one that exists in black. And in the show, Oni Mistake uses the fawn legs in black. And as you may know, we are getting an Oni Mistake minifigure this year at Build-A-Minifigure at LEGO stores. But notably, she did not come with the fawn legs, she just has normal black legs there. But if they introduce the black fawn legs for Possessed Garmadon in this set, then you could get an extra of the set and give them to Oni Mistake as well, and then you have a much more accurate Oni Mistake. So I know this sounds like a lot, but I think the pieces are all in place. I think a Legacy remake of the Golden Dragon from 2013, more focused on display, makes the most sense as our final 2026 Legacy set, featuring a new Golden Lloyd minifigure, a new Dark Nia minifigure, and possibly a new Possessed Garmadon minifigure, though that one I'm less confident on. However, in terms of Dragon, I don't think that's our only possibility. We could be getting a Legacy version of the Ultra Dragon. In terms of one, this isn't super high on my list. We've gotten the Ultra Dragon twice before with this design, and then we have the Golden Ultra Dragon with Ninjago Crystallized in 2022, so it's not been that long since we've seen the four-headed dragon design. But evidence pointing towards this, number one, the actual Legacy ZX suits, because these Legacy Ninja are based off their 2012 designs. As we've seen with the Legacy Lloyd's Titan mech though, the suits aren't super indicative of like what season the sets are coming from. However, I do think it's interesting that they're based off the 2012 suits, but we don't have a single 2012 inspired set. Blacksmith Shop is 2011, this one's 2019, Old Town is just everything. And the anniversary display, it's the monastery, so it can really like fit into any point in Ninjago's history. So none of these sets are specifically based off the era these suits are designed for. So just looking at the full Legacy lineup, I do think the Ultra Dragon would make a lot of sense. Another thing too, of course, it would come with the original four ninja, Kai, Cole, Jay, and Zane. And we know Lloyd is the only ninja that comes in his Titan mech, so that would mean if you got all 5 sets, you would have 3 full sets of ninja. 1 full set from the anniversary display, 1 full set from the Old Town, and then you would have 4 out of the 5 from the Ultra Dragon, 1 remaining one from Lloyd's Titan mech, and that way no one ninja is prioritized over another. In terms of exclusive minifigures, I think the only one that really makes sense here is Lou, Cole's father, but I think he's actually one of the most likely exclusive minifigures we have for this final set, and I'm going to mention him with some of my other predictions too. But the reason why I think we might get Lou is, number one, he's one of the few remaining characters from Masters of Spinjitzu we don't have yet. And if you look at the other sets this year, we're actually getting every single other ninja's parents. Kai and Nia's parents, Ray and Maya, come in the Blacksmith Shop. Jay's mother comes in the Ninja Anniversary display. Zane's father, Dr. Julian, comes in the Old Town. So that just leaves Cole as not having an actual physical minifigure of his dad, because that's something we've never gotten before. He doesn't make the most sense, but Cole's dad was in Ninjago City during that final battle against the Great Devourer, so they very easily could throw him in this set as just like the special new thing for longtime fans, while still including all the original ninja and everything. The final potential dragon I want to bring up is a remake of Firstborn from 2018, Ninjago Season 9 Hunted. And this one I also don't think is super likely, but there's a chance for a couple reasons. Firstborn was really only in that one season of the show, she also appeared for a moment in March of the Oni. But in terms of like Ninjago's lore, she's very important. She was the first dragon that was born, she's the mother of all dragons. So I think as an anniversary, as a celebration, a really cool new Firstborn could make a lot of sense. We also have the new Faith minifigure that comes in the Old Town set, and while I don't think they would reprint Faith directly because it would be weird to see her come in 2 sets, we know they have the torso and legs already in production for the Dragon Hunters, so if they wanted to put more Dragon Hunters in this set, they absolutely could. Firstborn is also just designed to be a fire dragon. I know she's not a fire dragon on the show, but that's what the set is. And fire dragons always sell very well, so this is just an excuse to do another fire dragon. But yeah, I think it would be a weird choice, but I could see a world where this happens. The biggest thing holding this back is exclusive minifigures, because I don't really know what they would give us that we don't already have from Hunted. I mean, Faith would be the answer, but Faith comes in the Old Town, and I feel like they may not have put her there if they were also making this set. But if they wanted to be really silly, they could give us a Rocky Danger Buff, Cole's Disguise from Season 9. I don't think it's super likely, but there's a chance. So those are my predictions as to what the Dragon set could be. I do think Dragon is the most likely category, and I think of all the sets I'm going to recommend in this video, the Golden Dragon specifically is the most likely. But I wanted to throw the other options out there, because there is a real chance for them. Now for the vehicle category, I think there's really only 2 that make sense, and one is a lot more likely than the other. This I think is the second most likely thing for this set to be after the Golden Dragon. We have the Ultrasonic Raider. Now the Ultrasonic Raider is such an iconic vehicle from Ninjago, and it has been remade 4 different times. There's the original from 2012, the Ultra Stealth Raider from 2016, the Legacy Ultrasonic Raider from 2021, and the Ninja Combo Vehicle from 2024. Now, these first two versions are beloved, they're fan-favorite sets. The Ultra Stealth Raider especially is one of my favorite Ninjago sets of all time to this day. I think it holds up really, really well. And I think I could say the opposite about these last two. These are some of my least favorite Ninjago sets of all time. The Ultrasonic Raider just has terrible play features that barely work, and it doesn't really look like the vehicle from the show at all. And the Ninja Team Combo Vehicle is fine, it was just overpriced and very simple. It doesn't have the super cool transformations that the previous three had. So it has been a very long time since we've had a good version of this vehicle, and I think it's a popular vehicle so it sells well. So I think there's a very real chance they remake it in 2026 for the 15th anniversary. A lot of my reasoning overlaps with what I said for the Ultra Dragon. You could put the original 4 Ninja in there, so you'd have 3 complete sets of Ninja across the entire wave. You could throw Garmadon in there too. We know we have a Garmadon in production because he's in the old town. In terms of exclusive minifigure, again, I have to go with Lou. He's in that scene, he's the one Ninja parent that we don't have in sets this year. So why not throw him in here? If you want to go really crazy, you could throw in Jay's adoptive parents as well. We technically already have minifigures of them from the LEGO Ninjago movie, but they're not like 100% screen accurate. So as like a little side build, you could do their car, because again, that was there in this scene, I'm pretty sure. But I don't think that's super likely. You could also do young Harumi, because of course I'm talking about the fight against the Great Devourer. That's when this vehicle is first created, when it's first used. And of course, that's when Harumi's backstory takes place. So if you wanted to have like a civilian figure in there, she would make sense. And finally, I think there's a chance for a new Pythor. As I've said, there's very few villain minifigures in these sets at all. So far, I think we only have Grimfax and then the ones that come in the old town. But Pythor is one of the most iconic Ninjago villains of all time. We got him the last time we had Legacy, and right now is actually the longest LEGO has ever gone without including Pythor in a set. Last time we saw him was Ninjago Crystallized in 2022. By the time this summer wave comes out, that'll be 4 years. He first appeared in 2012, then we had him again in 2015, 2016, then back again in 2019, then again in 2022, so the longest gap without Pythor has always been 3 years. We're coming up on 4 though with this summer wave, so it's about time to get a new Pythor. He came in the original set, I think it would make sense to bring him back here. And then yeah, as I mentioned with the Ultra Dragon as well, of course the ninja suits this wave are based off 2012, and we don't have a 2012 set yet, so this would be a perfect 2012 inspired set to include every single ninja. And then I was really thinking back to any vehicles that are super iconic or really need an upgrade, and aside from the Ultrasonic Raider, the only one I could really think of is Cole's Tread Assault, his original Golden Weapon vehicle. Again, I don't think this is super likely, but I feel like I at least need to mention it. And the reason why is because the first time we had Legacy, this is the one Golden Weapon vehicle we did not get. Again, it's a 2012 inspired set, so the minifigures would make sense here. The original is just so old, and the Golden Weapon vehicles are so iconic, it would be cool to see a new interpretation. I'm gonna bring him over here again. Lou is really the only character that would make sense in this set, as like our exclusive. I don't know if he ever even appeared in a scene with the Tread Assault, but it's a Cole vehicle, you could throw his dad in there. I think that would work fine. This is also an excuse to fit in any Serpentine. I mean, Pythor would make sense here. Again, something that would be cool to give, but wouldn't make a ton of sense. Disguised young Lloyd from Season 1, where he puts on this little Serpentine mask. This would just be cute to have. Doesn't tie in super well with this vehicle, but they do drive it to get to the city of Ouroboros. I don't know. This would be if the final Legacy set was the smaller scale set, but honestly, I don't think this one's super likely. The final thing I just have to mention in the vehicle category is just the Destiny's Bounty. I don't think this is happening at all, but I need to mention it because it's iconic. Destiny's Bounty, of course, the ninja's main base in Season 1, and it's an iconic part of Ninjago that stuck around to this day, but we just got a new bounty last year. I doubt we're getting another one again. And the Legacy bounty was already like the perfect classic bounty, so if they're going to go back and do another Legacy bounty, it would have to be huge. Like D2C, $400, whatever. And considering we just got the old town, I don't think we're getting another D2C scale set, because I don't know why that one would have 3 anniversary minifigures and this would only have 1, if they're both meant to be like big 10th anniversary sets. So of the vehicle category, I honestly think the Ultrasonic Raider is the only one that has a real shot, but I honestly think it is really likely, like number 2 after the Golden Dragon. The final category villain set, I don't think we're getting any of these, but there is a chance because we don't have that already covered in Legacy, and this is personally where my most wanted set lies. I think the most likely villain set of anything is the Great Devourer. The Great Devourer, there she is. I have wanted a show-accurate Great Devourer for so long. We technically had a version back in 2012, but it was pretty bad. It was small and didn't really look like it looked in the show. I had fun with this build as a kid, but now that Ninjago has grown so much and LEGO has has grown so much, getting a more show-accurate, display-focused set would be amazing to finally have. This could also tie in with some of the previous suggestions we had, because you could include the Great Devourer in a new Ultrasonic Raider. Now that would have to be a big set to do them both justice, but if it was like $200, like $100 towards the Great Devourer, $100 towards the Ultrasonic Raider, I think you could definitely make that work. And same thing with the Ultra Dragon. The original Ultra Dragon set came with the original Great Devourer, so as long as you give them both enough budget this time around, I think it could actually work really well. In terms of new characters, of course, Lu, as I mentioned. He was in the city during the fight against the Great Devourer. He's the only ninja parent we're not getting this year. I think it's very, very likely he shows up somewhere this year. This is the chance to bring back Pythor. You could do Eden and his car as a side build. You could give us Young Harumi. This would actually be the set that Young Harumi makes the most sense in. And of course, this is another set where the 2012 ZX Ninja actually do fit in. I would love so much for this to be our final set. I think it would be so incredibly cool. But yeah, LEGO just does not like doing villain builds, so I don't think it's very likely. One day though, I really hope one day. This is my #1 most wanted set of all time, probably after the Blacksmith Shop, but we're getting the Blacksmith Shop this year, so if we can get that, maybe we can get this one as well. And I think that's the only villain build with any actual real legs behind it. But other things I guess that could make sense, the Moro Dragon. This is another fan favorite set that's very expensive on the aftermarket, so for newer fans that missed out on it, it would be super neat to have an updated version. It's just got such a cool color scheme, and of course people love Moro. It could come with a new Possessed Lloyd minifigure, but like in the Legacy design. That would be quite cool. Aside from that though, in terms of exclusive minifigures, I don't really know who you'd include that we don't like already have in other sets. I guess we technically don't have a new Ronin this year, and he is a side character that is somewhat popular, so you could throw him in a Moro Dragon. But we have gotten quite a few Ronins over the years, so it's not like as exciting to see him come back. Yeah, I don't think it's super likely, but worth throwing out. From the same season, we also have the Preeminent. This is the only thing so far that I've mentioned that would not be a remake, I believe. This would be our first time getting this character, so that would be a reason to do it, right? Give us this character that's a part of a super important scene in the show that we never got any version of in a set. And while I think that would be really cool, honestly, if we're going to get a giant creature build, I think it would be the Great Devourer. I don't know why they would go back and do the Preeminent first. Again, though, Possession is a fan favorite, so you can include Possessed Lloyd here, you could include Ronin here. You could even do a new Sensei Garmadon, which would be quite cool. But yeah, I don't think this is happening. Another Possession set, I think there's a low but not impossible chance we get Bansh's mech. And the only reason I'm saying that is because we were supposed to get it a few years ago. When the Overlord Dragon was being developed in 2021, it was between that and this mech. And they decided to go with the Overlord Dragon, but the Ghost mech was fully developed. This was the sketch model that was shared by the designer on Twitter, so I think there's a chance they revive that this year and give us the set, but I think that's unlikely mostly because this was posted to Twitter like a little over a year ago. That was probably around the time they were at least coming up with the concepts for the 2026 sets, so I think if they were going with this, Neek would not have posted this picture to his Twitter. So while I guess not technically impossible, I really don't think this is happening. And finally, one more thing I don't think is super likely, but it's likely enough that I should mention it. It could be really cool to get a remake of Garmadon's Dark Fortress. This was our first ever big villain base, so for the 15th anniversary, I think it could make sense to go back and do like a new, larger, more detailed version of it. This is a chance to finally do a new version of Samukai as well, which fans have been waiting for since Day of the Departed in 2016. But again, with all these other options, I really don't think this is what they'd go with. Villain builds are so unlikely in the first place, and if it's going to be anything, it would probably be the Great Devourer. But there we go, those are my full predictions for the final 15th anniversary Ninjago set. Of all of these, I'm pretty confident it's going to be one of these two, the Golden Dragon or the Ultrasonic Raider, but Golden Dragon feels the most likely to me. I think the minifigures make sense, the build makes the most sense. It's been a while since we last had it, it'll be nostalgic for older fans, really exciting for new fans. We can get the Fallen Legs from Mistake, we can get Dark Nia because the graphics are already designed. Gold Lloyd is not in a single set already, and they like to include Gold Lloyd. We got him the last time we had Legacy. I think this makes the most sense of anything. Then the Ultrasonic Raider is just a very popular vehicle, there's a lot of characters you would include in there. It makes sense with us getting the 2012 suits this wave because not a single other set is related to those. But of course, if it was up to me, my personal most wanted is the Great Devourer. This would be amazing, potential for being the best set ever. LEGO has improved their creature builds so much since 2012. I really want to see what the designers could do these days. But yeah, in terms of what I think actually has a real shot, I think any of these dragons are actually possible. In terms of vehicles, Ultrasonic Raider is really the only one that makes a ton of sense to me. And villain stuff I don't think is happening, but if it was, I think it should be the Great Devourer. But yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap this video up here. This video has gone a lot longer than I expected it to. I guess I had a lot more to say than I thought on this topic. Let me know in the comments though, what do you guys think? What do you think our final Legacy set of the year is going to be? Do you think it's one of these? Do you think it's something else? And which minifigures do you think it's actually going to come with? But as for this video, I think I'm going to wrap things up here, so thanks for watching everybody, I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, make sure to use code BRICKSBYMINE in the Fortnite item shop, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!